I wanted to get your take on these lawsuits that.
That's what I was going to ask. Good.
Oh, okay. That Donald is launching into of,
Yeah.
now the pollster because that's about he's rewriting. He wants to rewrite how stop how people are talking about him, even factually, especially factually, and then find new ways for things to and really punish people who said the things that he didn't want to be said.
Yeah.
Right. Even if it was, from ABC News to now this pollster in Iowa. So that insistence on owning the alternative history and pushing for that, his insistence on that. I just wanted to get your take on that.
This is what autocrats do. It's what they've always done, right? So they always try to control the discourse. That's how they rise to power, is through controlling the platforms, by putting pressure on the media to cover them the way they want, by silencing the media, by silencing professors, librarians, right? Like all of those are done systematically, have always been done. You want to control as much as possible what people are allowed to say, because then, of course, you can control what people are allowed to think. And so Donald Trump has always been in the image management game, whether it was, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, he's always been about marketing, branding himself, and, talking to the tabloids and whatnot, trying to get, things written about him in a way that he liked. He certainly didn't stop, even when he was still president, after the insurrection, after January 6th, he did this ridiculous, hilarious sort of highlight reel where he tried to go to all these places and talk about all of the wonderful things that he has done, in his term of office and things like that. Right. So he's always trying to set the narrative. He's always engaged in frame warfare, where he's trying to frame reality, set the nation's agenda, which, bracket like Elon Musk is also a narcissist who enjoys the power of setting the nation's agenda and the frame warfare. Right. And so these two right now are coordinating and cooperating, but that's not going to last long, because two narcissists may enter, but only one will leave.
I love it.
And so that's not going to last, right? But so, the authoritarian, the autocrat always wants the agenda setting power. They always want the framing power. They want to define reality, whether that's through, writing history and rewriting history, putting up statues of themselves, right? Like, dear glorious leader, we cannot ever take your name in vain. Like, whatever it is, these are the practices of autocrats. And so if you were, unsure if Donald Trump is an autocrat, this is one way you would know, right? Because in a free society, you don't try to control history. You don't try to control facts and reality. You let people think for themselves. So he's I think, acute, sort of accurately identified, especially for the population, where he has control of the discourse, because he's not getting the challenges from journalism that we would hope, only from historians, and sometimes they're trotted out and other times they're ignored. But he understands, I'm going to take this into a court, and if I can get them to fold, then I can say I'm innocent, or this was wrong. He's using the courts in that way, as the civil courts in that way, and he's always done
lawsuits in that way, to reframe and reality, and history.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, and that's why he's attacking the people who were on the January 6th committee.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and so, again, to bring it back to myself, right, like, as a person who wrote a book about Donald Trump and told that history, as a person who contributed to the January 6th committee, right, gave a statement that's quoted in the final report. I'm not high on the list, but I'm, it's one of those things that I think about, right? Like, is he going to come after me because I wrote a mean tweet about him? Maybe. right? And
Maybe.
it's that maybe that I think has everybody so freaked out.